Welcome to Coffee with Skye. My name is Skye Taylor and I'm here to answer your questions art related. And I do the best I can, and remember, it's only my opinion. First of all, I want to begin by giving a shout out and thanking Ruth Mayahara, I hope I got that right, Mayahara, for buying me a cup of Starbucks coffee. I really appreciate it, and you bought it on my birthday. I'm 61 years old. Woohoo! Well, couldn't stop that, but I really appreciate the coffee. Thank you so much. What I usually do is I'll buy a cup of coffee when I go and take my wife out shopping, which is almost every day. We go somewhere. So I'll go and I'll pick up a cup of coffee, and I really appreciate it a lot. Okay, our first question comes from Kenneth Caldwell, and he wrote, "Hi Skye, love your videos. I have gotten great info from you. Thank you." Okay, Kenneth. I do have a question for you. You said you use gloss varnish for abstracts. Why not matte varnish for abstracts? Well, Kenneth, that's a very good question, and here's my thinking behind it. Now, you could use matte if you want to, but here's why I don't. When I'm using the gloss varnish, by watering it down just a little bit and putting one coat on, you have a matte varnish. It's not full gloss. See, so you can get double. You can use it two ways. You know, just because it says gloss doesn't mean the very first coat is going to be so glossy. It usually doesn't work that way. By wetting your sponge a little bit more and putting a thin layer on, when it dries, usually it's matte. You got to kind of play with it. Now, when I do landscapes, or I've done, I did an peacock painting. I just put one thin layer on there, maybe a couple thin layers, but it ended up being a matte finish. You couldn't tell the difference. In order to get the gloss, you would have to probably put multiple layers on, use less water. So what happens, Kenneth, is it becomes more cost effective to do it that way, because now you have a gloss medium varnish that you can use as a matte and also as a gloss. Not so with the matte. If you buy the matte, that's all you have is the matte. You got to kind of play with the gloss though, but that's the idea behind it, and that's what I do. You can use it both ways. Saves money, works wonderful. Okay, let's see here. Let me scroll down. I'm reading off my computer here. Okay, next question comes from Spitharoo. Like that name. In most other videos that I've watched, they all seem to wrap their paintings in plastic bags first or glassine paper. Would you say that it's not necessary then, and that plain old brown paper is good enough? Thanks. Well, everybody does it different, and there's probably no right or wrong way. But one thing I would say, the glassine paper, glassine paper is okay to use. I mean, that's going to protect the front of the painting, but really, is it necessary? I don't think so. Not for acrylic paintings. And definitely, I would not use a plastic bag. And here's the reason why I think it's not practical to use a plastic bag. What happens when you're shipping a painting, it's going to go through different climate changes. In other words, it's going to be in the truck, the FedEx truck, UPS truck, post office truck. It might get hot in there. Then it's going out to maybe cold or a cold area. You don't know. It's different climates. What happens is that causes the bag to sweat. Not good for the wood, not good for the painting. That's what I think. That's why I've never wrapped everything up, any painting up in a plastic bag. I've always avoided that issue. By using the craft paper, now you can get a big roll. You go to the painting section at Walmart, and you could get a big roll. I forgot how many yards it is, for about $6 or $7. And you can wrap your paintings up in that. It doesn't sweat, and it won't stick to the painting. It can go through the climate changes. Or you could use, you could go to a home improvement store and buy one of those big rolls of underlayment paper. That works just as well too, and that's cost effective. But compared to the painting paper, the painting craft paper that Walmart sells in the home improvement store, they might give you a little bit more, but basically it averages out about the same cost. So the Walmart in the painting section, you could buy that big roll of craft paper and it goes well. What I do is I wrap the painting up, and instead of buying all the foam peanuts, which are really, really expensive, you can crumble up paper and put it on the side of the painting to keep it from shifting. But if you want foam peanuts, which is more desirable, what you do is you run an ad on Craigslist asking people if they have any foam peanuts. And you'd be surprised what you get. Now, I had a power washer guy that would get power washer products in big boxes loaded with foam peanuts. And he happened to be right in my town. So what he would do is he would come and he would bring the peanuts right to my garage door, open it up and put them in. They were always there. I always had a supply. And I've gone and found them. Sometimes, you know, it's recyclable. It's rather than throw them away, if you could use them, people are willing to save them for you. So talk around instead of buying them, because you know those foam peanuts are really, really, did I say really? I meant really expensive. And you want to cut costs, and it is a recyclable item. Put an ad on Craigslist, tell them you're an artist, you ship, and you'd be happy that if they have any foam peanuts to let you know. You know, maybe people will save them for you. That's the way to do it. You know, think. Don't spend the money you don't have to. And usually the foam peanuts are really clean. You know, it's a recyclable item. But if not, use that paper and crunch it up, that craft paper, after you wrap your painting, crunch it up and put it on the sides. You just don't want the thing to shift. And if the box is really close to the front of the painting, put an extra piece of cardboard over the front. After you wrap your painting up in paper, have excuse me, have a piece of cardboard over the front of the canvas so it doesn't do any damage to it. You know, just creative packing. No rocket science. Okay, we've got time here for one more question. Okay. Hi, Skye. Did you put anything on the canvas? Now, this comes from, well, let me say the name of the person here. Myred Harkin writes, okay. Hi, Skye. Did you put anything on the canvas before you started? Thank you for making it seem so possible. Okay, what he's referring to is, what do I put on my canvas before I start painting? Well, you've got options, folks. You've got options. You never really want to paint from a raw canvas. You want to tone it with something. Now, back in the day when you're doing landscapes, you would tone it with sepia, which would be, oh, maybe a burnt sienna washed out, and then you would draw your picture with the burnt sienna, you know, different shades of burnt sienna, and that toned the canvas. But for abstracts, what I usually do, is I paint it gray. And house paint, Ace Hardware acrylic satin house paint works outstanding for that. You know, you put a coat on and let it dry, but you could use gesso if you want to do gesso. That works too. But the main thing is that you don't really want to just paint on a raw canvas. You could. I mean, there's no real rules to this, but by having the canvas completely toned like that, it fills in all those little bumps on the canvas, and for some reason, it makes it easier to paint. And that's why gesso is so cool too. Even though I've said before, you do not need gesso with acrylics. You do not need to. That's an option that you would do if you want to do it. You know, putting a layer of gesso on the canvas before you paint. You can do that. Acrylics, it's not necessary to do that. It's what you want to do. Maybe it's a better painting surface for you. And that's what I would use it for, a painting surface. So whether you use gesso or acrylic satin latex house paint, and the reason why I like satin is because that's comparable to your artist paints. It's the same thing. Your artist paints are satin. So it's very comparable. You can use the house paint in mixing with your artist paints. And whatever, just prime your canvas. And it fills in all those little ridges, and it makes it a little bit easier to paint. Okay. And I think that's about all we have time for now. Okay, Terry Anderson Sr. writes, "Hi, Skye. I just want to thank you for your inspiring videos." Well, thank you, Terry. "What type of camera and software do you use to make your videos? I remember from earlier videos you used a Samsung compact camera to photograph your paintings. So back then I purchased a Samsung compact camera and it works great for me. I would like to do a video of me painting in the future, and I value your comments, Skye. God bless." Well, okay, here we go, folks. I use a bunch of different cameras, I do. But here's the Samsung that Terry is talking about. It's a W300. Excuse me while I sip. The reason why I didn't make so many videos lately is I've been really sick, under the weather for the last 10 days, bad cold. So, and I still have a little bit of it. Aww. Okay. This is a W300 Samsung, and I liked it because it was really simple. It was easy to use, no brainer. I don't like my equipment getting in the way of actually doing videos. I want to be able to do my videos and not have so many problems. And this was a really easy camera. It was a one-button push record, really easy to operate. But the problem with this is that it does not have a microphone. You know, you have to rely on this microphone, which was good. Most of my early tips and tricks were done with this camera. Great little camera. And what's neat about it is that after you get done recording, you just pop the little card out. There's a little SD card, a micro card, and you put it into your computer, and you can begin editing right away because it's in an MP4 format. Really easy. Love the camera. It's just awesome. And when I do my painting videos, when I do my painting demonstration, this is my B camera. In other words, this is the camera that will focus in on my canvas that you see the big picture of. I use a more expensive camera for the side view and also to plug my microphone in, which I'm going to show you. Okay. Okay, the next camera that I use, and this is my main camera, this is a Sony. It's a high definition and it's model number HDR FX1000. This is what I record all my artist videos on, my painting videos. This is my main camera. I can plug my microphone, my lavalier mic in here, and this becomes my main camera. The problem with this camera is that it is tape-based, and that's a problem. Here it goes. There it goes. Comes up, and you have a mini cassette tape. Real headache. Real headache. Because what I have to do with this is that, this can get really involved, but I have to convert this into a digital format. And the only way I can do this is to make a DVD in real time. A DVD of it in real time, and then from that DVD I can put it in my computer and convert it to an MP4, which doesn't work with my editing software, so I got to take it and bring it to Windows Movie Maker, convert it to an MP4 again, then my editing software will accept it. It's just like a bunch of crazy steps. So I just use this when I'm actually doing my painting videos. This is my main camera, and I plug my microphone in it, and this becomes my soundtrack for it. It's an awesome camera, but really expensive. It's funny because sometimes the more you spend for a camera, the harder it is to work. You know, it takes more effort to work it. But the end results are good, and I don't mind it. I figured a way around it. That's the main thing. Okay. The next camera that I use is called a Kodak PlayTouch. Obsolete. Let me tell you the story about this camera, and this is what we are photographing on right now. This is what you're viewing. Why I love this camera. What happened, I went to Walmart. Now, folks, I live out in the country, and they had this camera on display. You know, and I walked around, and they happen to have the box in the back, and with the battery in it and everything, and I got it for $35 brand new. Now, when it first came out, it was a $150 camera. You can still find them on Amazon for $200, roughly 189 bucks, you know, if you hunt. But what's neat about this camera is it has a microphone input, and you can adjust the volume, and I can run my lavalier, and it's really, really easy to operate. It's a one button. The sound is good. The video quality is outstanding. You can go at 1080p, and it's just incredible. It only cost me $35, brand new. Of course, it's obsolete 5 years, but I don't care. It's brand new, and it does wonderful. You could see it photographs wonderful. But that's what all cameras should have, is a microphone input, you know. So this is easy to operate, and when I go to transfer it, I can take the little SD card out and put it in my computer and create my videos. Now, what kind of video editing software do I use? Well, here again, I bought this Acer laptop, about a year ago, and it's got about 1 terabyte, I think that's what you call it, of hard drive, and I think four gigabytes of memory. Okay, I'm not good with computers here. I got it for $248. It's an Acer, which is like a gateway. And with the computer came movie editing software. It's called Power Director. I absolutely love it. Of course, Power Director wants you to upgrade, and it's an older version of Power Director. It's Power Director 10, and they've got Power Director 15 out. Wouldn't upgrade, because everything I need is for free, and it's right there. And I'm always a believer that you should always make do with what you got. You'd be surprised what you could do. There's probably movie editing software on your computer, whether it be Windows Movie Maker or something else. If you're, learn how to use that. You know, you'd be surprised. I can't understand why people go out and spend tons and tons of money for all this expensive editing software, and in the end, I could do anything they could do pretty much. You know, you don't need a lot of special effects. Special effects make it look bad. All you want is to be able to fade in and fade out, and that's all the special effects you really need. And then be able to edit your movie. You know, I mean, basically, you've seen my videos. I mean, my painting videos and that. It was done all for free. Didn't spend a dime on software. You don't have to. Be creative. It's not so much always the tools. You can have the most expensive tools in the world, editing software and that. If you don't know how to use it, but you could have stuff that you can make work that might be available to you for free. You know, knowledge is power. Understanding your limitations, what you can and can't do. And if you can't do it, think about how you can do it. You might be surprised. I've never, ever, did I say ever, never, ever, ever, ever spend a dime on editing software, ever. Nothing. Everything I've done, I always got for free. And this is fine for me. Simple and easy to do. Well, that got lengthy. That was a long question. Okay, well, I guess that about wraps it up, and I hope that answered some of your questions. I'm going to finish my coffee, and we'll see you on the next Coffee with Skye. And thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions whatsoever, I'll do my best to answer them. As always, I try to answer every single question that any viewer ever asks. I'll do my best to answer it. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
was interesting.